Yep. Hello, this is Jane Ulrich. I would like to introduce Dr. Ulrich and
Hello.
Teresa Ulrich, who has an LISWS. They have worked with the Southeastern Ohio Appalachians jointly for the past 32 years. I have asked them to discuss relevant cultural information regarding the Appalachian community that they have served. So, Dr. Ulrich, if you would like to start the discussion.
Sure, Jane. As new students approaching different cultural aspects of medicine, Appalachia is especially challenging area to practice in. I grew up in a rural community and had made a choice early on to do primary care in a rural community. The culture I grew up in was very similar to Appalachian cultural values, and I think it was a little easier for me to fit in. But the number one key thing in Appalachian culture is a suspicion of outside people. And even though I practiced in my particular place for 32 years, I'm still a little bit of an outsider. Although I think when you say, Terry, we've gotten in a little bit over the time.
Definitely.
I think the most important part of Appalachian culture is its oral tradition and the importance of stories. And it's important to listen, particularly to Appalachian people, so that you hear the story they have to tell. And if the patient feels that you've listened to their story, you somewhat win their respect and eventually their trust. And that's part of being from the outside. Part of it is knowing the community also, and it's important to go meet patients and become a part of the community by becoming involved in activities. Go meet people where they work at. Ask them about their families. Ask them about their mother. Ask them about their father. These are all good things that we should be doing in a social history anyway. I think one of the real challenges in practicing in the Appalachian community also is to balance the time to listen to the stories with the number of patients you have to see. And so it's hard to listen patiently to a story when you have 6 patients in exam rooms and another 6 sitting out in the waiting room. I think it's important to realize that alcohol use and to some extent, tobacco use is quite common. And preaching doesn't always get you your best results. Just kind of working with the patient to discuss with them the importance of how these behaviors influence their families helps some. It does not do to preach to an Appalachian patient. They're very resistant to that, and they resent it. I think most of us don't like to be preached to. But I can use stories to illustrate points sometimes, and that helps. I'm going to let Terry talk to you some about the psychological aspects of doing counseling. Terry and I work together in the same practice. Terry, in addition to being our office manager, is also a clinician, and she spends time doing counseling with children and adults that myself or one of the nurse practitioners refer to her. So Terry?
I not only see patients from my husband's practice, but I also have other physicians refer in to me. One of the things that helps with communicating with people from Appalachia is you have to do something that I was taught in graduate school, and that's called language matching. You try to not talk above them or below them, but match their type of language and some of the words that they use, put them in yours. It helps them understand where you're coming from, and it also communicates to them your acceptance of them. But psychological help, psychologists, social workers are not well accepted within the Appalachian culture at all. It has helped me because I am located in Perry County in a physician's office, and they see me as part of the helping staff of the doctor's office now. And our office employs a lot of local personnel, so therefore we become part of the community. And that's very critical in an Appalachian culture. Don't bring in a lot of outsiders because they're not going to accept that at all, even if it's only for 5 or 10 miles away. We are within maybe 15 miles of the Appalachian border in one area, but most of our catchment area is within Appalachia. And you respect mother, father, entire families. That's very important, and you allow the families to talk. At the same time, you help them figure out how to expand. One of the things you have to do, and it's what you have to do in good mental health care anyway, is just expand or change their view of the problem so they can find their own solutions. Your solutions will not work for them.
And you know, Terry, when you talk about language, that brings to mind a story that was a real learning point for me. I think I've been in practice about 2 years, and this fellow came in, he had really bad back pain, and he had re-injured his back once again. This was back in times when we really prescribed a lot of bed rest initially, which we subsequently found out that's not a good idea for back pain. But anyhow, I instructed the patient for 3 or 4 days of bed rest. The only time I wanted him out of bed was to eat his meals and to go to the bathroom. And so, and then I had him come back in 3 or 4 days to see if he was improving. It was over the weekend, I think. And as I recall, he came back on a Monday, and he was much worse. His back was really stiff, and he was hurting very badly. And I said, Jim, have you been following my directions? Oh, Doc, he said, the only time I've gotten out of bed is to go eat my meals and go to the bathroom. And I said, well, when did your back start getting worse? He said, I reckon that'd be Sunday night. I was walking up the trail to the outhouse and tripped over a log in the dark. So, you know, we take things for granted sometimes as we instruct patients. And cultural sensitivity is extremely important. I can tell you that after 30 years of working with Appalachian patients, I've had them play music for me in their homes, fix food for me, and swap stories. And it's been a good life.
And they taught you about beekeeping.
And they taught me how to keep bees. So it's been a good 30 years. And you know, when I look back, I see how much high blood pressure I saw 20 years ago, and we've improved that tremendously in our community. So we've made some steps, and I would encourage you to study more about Appalachian culture and Appalachian medicine, and if you have an interest in it, we would be more than glad to have you down to be a part of Perry County Family Practice in the hills of southeastern Ohio, and I hope that this has been helpful for you. Have a good evening.
And I would like to thank you both for helping with this project and informing more people about Appalachia. Thank you.
You're welcome.